Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about a very funny trend that happened during this election cycle that we need to talk about one more time. Even though the election's over and we all know what happened with that, I want to talk about some of the supporters that came out for President Trump that surprised a good amount of people. This trend that happened was basically a number of big famous rappers ended up supporting President Trump over Biden, and this is pretty interesting for a number of reasons. I mean, first of all, typically Democrats really expect black people to vote for them. Even Joe Biden himself said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. So to see a number of prominent African-American dudes voting for Trump instead is already pretty fun and interesting. In addition, these guys are all rappers, some of them pretty gangster, covered in tattoos, talking about lots of extreme stuff. And that's fine. That's their art. That's what they want to do. That's all fine and dandy. But the point is them collaborating with Trump, meeting with him, supporting him. It's been rather fun to see. It's rather interesting. And it goes to show the appeal of Trump crosses generations, crosses different types of people, different skin colors, different groups, different everything, cultures. Trump is just a kind of figure that brings a lot of people together. And specifically, rappers have always been drawn to him. This is something that happened early on in his life, too. Before he was even a politician, many rappers tend to reference Trump. Trump has always been this rich businessman with lots of gold-plated buildings and stuff, and rappers would typically reference Trump saying, I want to be rich like Trump, I want gold like Trump, stuff like that. They're referencing Trump as a way to kind of have this topical reference in their rhymes. I remember Nelly had a song with Trump, and all kinds of other artists have mentioned him. So to now see them supporting Trump and saying he should win in 2020, that's pretty fun to bring up. That's something we've talked about multiple times this year too. This has happened, for example, a while back, Kanye West came out for Trump about a year or two ago. He was wearing a Trump hat, talking about how Trump is really helping people, talking about how black people don't have to vote Democrat. They shouldn't be forced into something like that. And then more recently, we had a slew of other rappers. We had Ice Cube come out and work with Trump, not necessarily supporting him, but then we had 50 Cent straight up coming pro-Trump because he didn't want to pay a lot of taxes. Next was Lil Pump, this SoundCloud rapper that supported Trump. He went all full-blown MAGA, even attended an event with Trump over the weekend right before the election. Lil Pump was speaking at a rally with Trump. That was exciting. And now we're talking about a new character and an even bigger rapper to me. Lil Wayne is supporting Trump now, as you can see by this article, as you'll see in some of the details. And Lil Wayne's a big deal. This is one of the greatest rappers alive. He's one of the most legendary artists in this industry. He has a lot of cred. He's far and above people like a Lil Pump, who's just kind of more of a newer rapper. He's great too, but he's coming up on the scene in a new generation. Maybe you could say Ice Cube and 50 Cent compared to Lil Wayne. That's for sure. But as far as I'm concerned, if you go back about 10 years, especially, Lil Wayne is the best. He's trained some of the best. And now he's supporting Trump. And it just makes a lot of sense because he's a smart guy. He's not going to be pressured into supporting a group just because he's black, just because he's supposed to vote for a Democrat because that's what people tell him to do. It's like, no, he's going to support someone who he thinks is right for the country, someone he thinks will do the right things. And actually, Lil Wayne has a backstory that helps him not see race in this way. He's actually a very anti-racist person. I'm not sure if this will come up in the article specifically, but it's been brought up surrounding this story. Once Lil Wayne came out in favor of Trump, a lot of people started sharing this clip of him. He's done multiple interviews talking about this guy who saved his life. Essentially, what happened was Lil Wayne almost died when he was a kid. I think he was like 12, and a bunch of cops ended up coming into the building, and he's laying on the floor dying, and they all stepped over him looking for something else, just walking over the kid. And then the guy that comes in to save his life, I think he said his name was Bob. He said it was Bob or something like that. And the guy came in, he picks up Lil Wayne, takes him all the way to the hospital, carries him into the emergency room personally, and he basically saved Lil Wayne's life. And what the part of the story, the moral of the story was, a lot of those people stepping over Wayne were black people just ignoring him, letting him die. But he was saved by this white police officer who ended up being a really good guy. And ever since then, Lil Wayne has said, hey, I don't know racism. I never seen racism. I don't believe in it because I was saved and I know that there's good people on both sides. So that's the best I can retell the story. Maybe it'll come up more specifically later. Let's go ahead and read on. on and see where this goes. On Thursday, rapper Lil Wayne, real name Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., met with President Trump in Florida. Lil Wayne is joining the recent show of hip-hop artists to show support for Trump. Lil Wayne has known Trump since appearing on the reality series Celebrity Apprentice in 2013. The two posed for a photo op after discussing Trump's new Platinum Plan, a $500 billion investment initiative started by the administration in September, oddly close to the November election. And then here is Wayne, also known as Wheezy, and here's him sharing the picture himself just a few days ago. He says, "Just had a great meeting with Trump, the POTUS. Besides what he's done so far with criminal reform, the Platinum Plan is going to give the community real ownership. He listened to what we had to say today and assured he will and can get it done." So he's got support from Lil Wayne. Nice little photo op there. 50 Cent says, "I would never have taken this picture." He's the one that actually renounced his endorsement of Trump. 50 Cent was attacked and basically caved in because he's not strong enough to stand on his own. I'm not sure. Maybe he was misinterpreted or something too. But now he's going full-blown anti-Trump, which is kind of sad and weird. Says fans heavily criticized him. So he's basically getting criticized because he's not taking the right route here. Here you can see Vito saying he makes over $400,000 and don't want his taxes to go up. I mean, that's not really a dig on Lil Wayne. I don't want my taxes to go up. Everyone should not want their taxes to go up. I don't see why anyone over that amount would want their taxes to go up. I don't know. I mean, you could pay more taxes if you really want to, but people are going to vote not to. These people say Lil Wayne is a shame, sellout. These are the hip hop stars whose lyrics are always derogatory toward the African queen herself, even though they came from one. Some have wives, sisters, aunts, and some have daughters. But when there's a black woman on the ticket, they run to the colonizer. I'm not sure, but I think this is a person who misunderstood and thinks that Kamala Harris is black. That's why Lil Wayne should vote for Biden. But Biden is the presidential candidate. So even if she was black, it'd be kind of weird to vote for a black VP. I guess they are already kind of admitting that Biden's not going to make it and he's going to step down and Harris will take over. But the problem is Harris isn't even black. She's Indian. I think she might be half or quarter black, but she's certainly not African American. She's from Jamaica. Her parents and ancestors, her long ancestors from long ago actually owned servants and stuff like that. So she's far from someone who's experienced the African American experience. She doesn't have any black family members. She doesn't have black parents or a husband. Her kids aren't black. She is just this kind of tan woman, half Indian, possibly half or a quarter black, but she hasn't suffered. She's not really what would represent this group like they're claiming, like they act like she's just another black person. Trump is for the rich. Of course, Wayne is voting for him. I would too if I was him. Rappers are not the leaders of black people. This is a funny sign. I actually like that. If either Trump or Lil Wayne had an intention to help the black community, they would have met with community leaders long ago. This is just another stunt in exchange of personal favors days before the election. Trump to get black voters and Wayne to get public attention. How quickly y'all forget, but continue. Trump refuses to condemn white supremacists at presidential debate. This is a fake story. He condemned them at the debate right when he was asked to. He said, sure, I'll condemn them. But then the guy asked the question again. He's like, well, you condemn them now? And Trump was like, I just did that. But yeah, it's just not true. And they act like he's done nothing for black people in this whole 4 years either, when really the whole country's been brought up. Trump has had a very diverse base and campaign, and everyone he's helped has been all over the place. It is not this sort of thing he's doing in the final hours, the final throes of the election that happened last week. It's just, no, this is just how it came out. Lil Wayne happened to meet up. He met up with a few people. It's the same thing that Biden does with his little celebrity endorsements. Sure, you might want to call it Republicans hypocritical for partaking in endorsements like that, but as I've said in these other videos, there is a good explanation for that, really. It's far more interesting when someone comes out and supports a conservative, especially a celebrity, since all the celebrities are voting for Biden and supporting him. So that's just like old hat. It's like not surprising. It's expected even. If they don't, it's actually interesting and new and different, especially with this group, with this demographic of black rappers, rich, successful entrepreneurs, main figures in the African American experience in America. As I said in the intro, that's why this is an interesting thing, and that's why it's not necessarily hypocritical to cover it. Here it says Ice Cube also spoke with Trump about the Platinum Plan. However, he was adamant that that meeting was to discuss policies addressing racial inequality, not an endorsement. But that's the thing. It's kind of a tacit, unspoken endorsement. Speaking with him means you'll agree to work with him. It's not like he totally wrote off Trump like a lot of these people. A lot of these biased commenters are just going anti-Trump. They're attacking Lil Wayne. And what it really shows is how they're they're not as pro black people as they claim. They only support black people if they vote Democrat. If not, they turn on them and go after them and just totally say these vile, lying things. That's just so messed up. It's like, doesn't make sense. Like, if they were really pro black people, they would let them endorse whoever they want. But the truth is, they're only pro minorities and alphabets and these other groups if they get their votes. If they don't get your votes, they don't care about you. They're not noble. They're not honorable. They're not going to take your side, even if you're not voting for them. It's like, no, they're going to attack you. They're going to show that they're the real racists. They're the ones attacking others and going after people first, their skin color and other things like that. And that's why this story is just so messed up to see the reaction to it. And that's one of the last things I want to end with, this other article here where John Legend calls out Lil Wayne and other rappers who have supported Trump. John Legend is a big phony crybaby. John Legend is like this really beta male. You can see him with Common here. These are like the half black guys who have trouble with their race and their background and being brought up. That's why they have to go pro-Democrat. They feel like they're in this like kind of race war. They're not comfortable in their skin. They don't know where they belong. They've been told that they're different and all this stuff. And here's him with Chrissy Teigen. These two are the most vile, gross, crass people on the internet. They always are cursing, going after Trump, lying, saying all this bad stuff. This is the worst and worst of Hollywood. So to see Common and John Legend coming together to do this Biden-Harris stuff is super cringe and super expected. And the fact that they go after Lil Wayne for supporting Trump, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that's worse is like Lil Wayne and these other guys, they don't care. No one cares about John Legend. John Legend and Common are just these hacks. I mean, sure, the guy can sing. Common's acted in a few decent movies, but the truth is, like we said, I just said, they're mixed, they're confused, they're lashing out. They think they're doing the right thing for their community when they're really not. They're really attacking the people who are doing the right stuff, like how Trump is with those actual decent musicians like those rappers. That about wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell for notifications too. Until next time, have a great day.